Welcome back to Totem Pole Sports. Coach Hutchings here with Coach K, aka the Bald Coach K. How's it going, Coach?
Oh, everything's good. TGIF, the grind includes Friday. Happy Friday to
Happy
everybody out
Friday
there.
to you, man. I kind of wish I was sitting where you were at. Look at
Yeah,
that amazing background there. No, Totem Pole Nation, that is not a green screen. Man, it's chilling out by an amazing pool, amazing background, all that good stuff.
yes, sir. Yeah, busy day for me already. Had an uncle in town, took him to the airport about 4:15, 4:30. So just been up and moving, getting stuff done, getting ready, prepared for the weekend. Big weekend, sports wise, and everything.
Yeah, indeed. And so there's a lot of big stuff coming up, and that's kind of where you see the banner at the bottom. We got the state of professional wrestling. I wanted to ask you about what's going on in the professional wrestling world.
Oh, I tell you what, I think it's just a amazing time to be a pro wrestling fan. You know, growing up, you just didn't have so many options and ways of watching stuff. But right now you've got WWE doing their thing, AEW is on TV. You got Impact Wrestling. New Japan just had a huge show to kind of start the year off. You got a lot of pay-per-views. You got Wow Wrestling, which is on CW where I'm at, and that's nothing but the women's wrestling. So I think it's a very exciting time to be a pro wrestling fan for sure.
Agreed. There's a lot going on that people can get into. And I tell you, you brought up New Japan, and there's been a ton of guys that have come out of New Japan or went there, and then they've been big staples in the WWE and the AEW. And I got to do build the ring for New Japan's third ever USA show in Daytona. And I tell you what, they put on an incredible show. A lot of stuff that you just don't see in American professional wrestling.
They do. That's a territory that you got to kind of you get graduated when you go over there. They wrestle very stiff over there. There's a little bit of a language barrier most of the time, so there's going to be some stiff shots, and you just have to bring it when you get over there, or it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a very long time being over there. It's going to hurt your feelings if you don't
Yeah,
come back right at it.
and they know how to get the crowd going. I mean, I think they were even better than when I went and did all the WWE stuff. And you take away the big events of WWE Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and all those things, but just the live shows, the house shows that aren't televised. Um, it just blew my mind some of the stuff that they would do and how they would get the crowd involved and how, frankly, disgusting some of the stuff that they did was. But it was amazing to watch. So, Total Pole Nation, if you ever get a chance, go out and see some NJW wrestling. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. New Japan Wrestling. It's phenomenal because where I'm at, they show it on TV later on in the evenings, and you can watch it. And it's just amazing how different the crowds are there. The crowds there, a lot of them will kind of sit on their hands and they'll clap and stuff like that. And it's amazing because you see some very high risk maneuvers or some really good action, and you don't have them going bananas, and you don't have them, with the flags or the posters and stuff like that. So it's definitely a different watch over there for sure.
Yeah, so like you said, there's lots going on in the wrestling world. Oh, we definitely have to give a shout out to a professional wrestler, unfortunately, that lost his life, and still not very, somebody that you would think had, when you hear the name Briscoe, you think a lot of different things. We think that a long generation of wrestlers, but really, not much older than I am, and unfortunately, passed away here recently. But Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion. Um, Really great guy, and just wanted to get your thoughts of about his career and his untimely passing.
Oh, absolutely. And that Briscoe family, first thing I think of more old school is Gerald and Jack Briscoe, Jerry Jack Briscoe. Those guys just pioneers in the sport. Uh, Jerry Briscoe he was just one of those guys that he would he would do old school calisthenics, and then he would go out there and he would put on the best match almost every single night. And the Ricky Steam arm drag that everybody knows, that he's pretty much the one that just perfected it. That originally came from Briscoe, you know. But yeah, with Jay, I mean, it's so tragic because we've lost so many amazing wrestlers in the business, and to lose a guy at the age of 38 years old, where he was still, I still think those guys were in their prime. They're the current ROH champions, and they just had a phenomenal dog collar match with the FTR. If you have never seen that, I highly recommend that. I mean, old school, like the original one with Piper and Greg the Hammer Valentine back in the day, but a tag team match. So, yeah, I really, it's so super heartbreaking, and that he had his two daughters with him as well, and that that they're the whole family going through this. You don't wish that upon anybody.
Yeah, and just to add on too, when you're a professional wrestler, the first thing that they give you is a speech that you're going to be gone 270 days out of the year. And so you making that sacrifice for your family, everybody wants to be top dog and to be Ring of Honor champion. That's a huge, huge feat to even get to there. And you spend so much time away from family, and then something tragic like this happens. It's almost like, I don't want to say a double loss, but it's like you grow up, you watch him on TV, you follow him around, you get to go to the matches, you get to see that one side, but then you have the family side, which is completely different. And just, the loss, it's such a sad thing just in general. And like you had mentioned too, we've lost a lot of wrestlers over the years for various different things. Some in their later years, some in their early years. And there's no words that can really console anybody, especially when somebody's doing, they're doing the thing that they love. They're doing it for their family. But in the end, it's a crazy experience. And, the family is there watching you, growing up, and they're watching you on TV. They're watching you through these, now live streams. And then one day things just change and it's no more. I will say one of the positive things, though, too, is because of the day and age that we live in, all the recordings and like that, it's not, I don't want to say it makes it any better, but it gives you the opportunity to kind of relive those experiences and see those things that live on for a lot longer than in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I always kind of think of with a lot of the pro wrestlers, my generation, those guys, they were my superheroes. You had the superheroes and all the, X-Man and all that stuff like that. Like those guys, to me, that's who they were. So it's definitely had a huge impact on me. And yeah, that's the thing with a lot of the guys you see. You might see these guys being, the heel on TV or the bad guy, but to their family, that's their daddy. You know what I mean? That's the best thing that ever happened to them. That's the the man that they hope to grow up to be like. So it's very tragic for the wrestling business. But when you have tragic events like that, I think that's what forms that bond and that brotherhood. And you have to go through tough situations sometimes to realize how strong you can be. Sometimes being strong is the only thing you can be. So.
Agreed. And so, tragic loss for Jay Briscoe. We hope nothing but the best for his family during this time. And, just like you said, they were superheroes. Those are the guys that we all aspire to be, aspire to look like. And no matter they're the heel or the face, the bad guy or the good guy, they're still, human. They're still amazing people, and they do so much for usually their family, definitely, but also the community. And, just being somebody that, especially when you go to these different organizations, you can kind of get up close and personal with a lot of these guys, and they do a lot more signings and a lot more things where they engage the audience. And I think that's where they make the most impact, honestly, is being there with all those people and kind of showing them, hey, I'm a real person. I can still be a real a-hole on TV, a real a-hole in the ring, but I'm going to sign your hat. I'm going to sign your papers. I'm going to be there. You can snap that picture with me and all that stuff. And, so again, just, rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. And we hope nothing but the best for your family in the future as you go through this tough time.
Without a doubt. You just nailed that, Coach.
Well, I want to talk something, a little change from there. Just the legacy, one of the biggest events of the year is the WWE Royal Rumble coming up. And, I'm sure there will be, some type of tribute on there. But in the end, it's, getting all these people together for just an amazing event to show the fans. And it's always one of my favorite things to see who they bring on, those surprise wrestlers that drop in. And sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes you're like, what on earth is going on? Who's pulling these guys to put them in there? So we got that coming up here soon. What do you think is the thing that people are looking forward to most, and who are you hoping to see get called out in those 30 people?
Oh, my man, great question. The funny thing is, yesterday or day before, I turned on my network and everything, and they had from January the 24th, 1988. I was 9 years old. It was the first Royal Rumble, and it was when Hacksaw pulled the rope down and the one-man gang went over top. And, man, I tell you what, it got me back to being 9 years old again, man. It was so exciting. The thing I really enjoy about it is, you have a lot of, you have a lot of, guys that just tend to get in the same, they wrestle each other over and over, the same kind of feuds. Well, when that Royal Rumble strikes up, man, that's like the perfect time to, to see how the crowd pops to different people that you might not expect to get in there. And so it's always a super exciting thing. But I think this year it's as fiery as it's ever been. You got Cody Rhodes definitely coming back for it. There's talk about possibly The Rock. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm trying to sit here and think of who would be your last four. I got to think Brock Lesnar's going to come in there. Stone Cold, man. Stone Cold has been working out, and he is jacked, man. And I don't know if you got to see last year's Mania with him and Kevin Owens, but, man, that dude still got it. He can brawl with the best of them. So that's what I'm just hoping for. If I had to pick a final four of who I would like to see, I would probably say, probably Cody. I would like to see Lashley in there, Stone Cold, and I don't know, man. Throw a wild card in there. Throw a wild card in there.
Doink the Clown.
Right. yeah, that would be wild.
That would be absolutely incredible.
Wild. Hey, man,
Boogeyman, even
the Boogeyman, come out there with the worms.
yeah.
That'd be exciting right there.
So I tell you, even just on the same kind of topic, it is Royal Rumble. You get all those entries, and that music hits, and the crowd just goes nuts because it's somebody they were hoping for, or somebody that completely surprises you. Like, oh my gosh, this person is back wrestling. But I tell you, I miss some of the old school for me, being 90s wrestlers. But the Brood, their opening, them coming out drinking blood.
That was Edge and Christian. Christian hasn't been on AEW in a while, man. That'd be something else. That could be something that possibly happens for sure.
Yeah, that would.
Gangrel, man, Gangrel.
Exactly.
He's still doing stuff down here in Florida every once in a while. He's still working the business, I believe.
Dudley Boys would be pretty awesome. You couldn't do them both at the same time, but I still think that'd be pretty awesome, one right after the other.
Oh man, them guys super tough, man. Amazing talents, without a doubt.
So, speaking of, we're talking about all this amazing talent coming out. Now we've got the Raw 30th anniversary coming up as well.
Yeah, that's going to be super exciting. You got legends from almost every generation going to be there. I know Flair. There's talk of the Bloodlines. They had mentioned in their promo, you had to listen specifically, but they said there's going to be a member from every generation of the Bloodlines. So, I'm thinking you're going back in the day, and it'd be a great time to see, the Rock pop out there. I think the crowd would really get dialed up for that. With Mania being in California in his backyard, he wouldn't have to hop on a plane for that. So.
Yeah, no, he's busy doing the XFL version too. But it wouldn't take much for him to just come back out for one night, and you just hit that music, if you smell what the Rock is cooking, the place is gonna pop the top off the building.
Man, absolutely. And I read something here earlier today saying that he wasn't in, he didn't think he'd be in that wrestling shape by that time. I think we can both look at the guy and think that he looks good. Hey, at least he looks good getting off the bus, don't he, Coach?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I watched
Yeah,
that new movie with him, the Black Adam, and
yeah,
still the dude is massive,
yeah.
human being.
Absolutely, absolutely. He does. He's got that charisma, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I highly recommend it. It's called Young Rock. It comes on. I want to say it comes on NBC on Friday nights now. But
Yeah, I heard about it, but I haven't seen it. I've pretty much stayed off the network television, but
yeah,
I do. I love. I've got this service that just plays all the old WCW, WWF matches,
can't
and
go wrong
I'll
with
just
that.
leave that on and just watch that for hours, honestly.
Without a
And
doubt.
it just makes me think too for the Raw 30th anniversary. WWE pretty much swallowed up WCW, got all those guys back, that the guys that left or the guys that were never in Raw and ended up coming back over. So it leaves a lot to the imagination about who you're actually going to see both at the Royal Rumble and at the Raw 30th anniversary. And I'm just thinking about all the different Monday Night Raw moments that are just embedded in my brain when you see all the stuff that happened between Vince and Stone Cold. I mean, those are forever going to live in infamy. All those different things that happened. Then I think about Triple H and Stephanie, the things that they had done, getting married, when he basically looked like he drugged her and took her to Vegas. Um, and then I'll never forget the live sex on Monday Night TV. So I don't know if that,
No
they finally
comment on
went
that.
back to TV 14. So I
Yeah.
know they can talk about some of this stuff a little bit more freely than they used to. And I just on a side note, I was doing professional wrestling and was going out for the PG era, but I was thinking so much about if we could just cross that line a little bit more and make it back to what it was. Because I think even though there's kids, I mean, my first ever show was a Monday Night Raw in Richmond, Virginia, where Mankind fought Stone Cold Steve Austin in a no holds barred pins anywhere match, and they went about. And I'm 9 years old, and I got guys, I'm getting beer spilled on me, but I'm loving every second of it. It's just
Absolutely.
stuck in my brain. So.
I'm sure you got your money's worth with those two guys. They were probably fighting right beside you.
Oh yeah,
Those
right up the
two.
steps and everything, all through the back and all
Some
through the.
vintage brawlers right there for sure.
So
Yeah,
well,
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think of, I remember when the Steiner brothers first showed up, that was such a big deal. I think on the first show, they actually had the Road Warriors. That was their first time kind of, the Legion of Doom, that was kind of their first time, I believe. But yeah, so many moments. And, that's, and with it being the week before the Royal Rumble, I mean, it is. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan, with football really dialing back and just the playoff games and stuff like that. There's a big gap on Monday nights for people to watch stuff, and for Friday nights, you don't have the college football going on anymore. So yeah, tune into some professional wrestling. See
indeed,
some good stuff, man.
and recently too, with the AEW, All Elite Wrestling, challenging the WWE and taking a lot of their people. You see Daniel Bryan is now Bryan Danielson.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
you see all these different guys come over that I'll be honest, watching it, I've enjoyed it more than watching Monday Night Raw. I just think that they've been able to hit the nail more on the head than WWE has, and not taking away from WWE. I mean, they're the king, the top of the mountain, but they've just been able to kind of reach out for what I think fans want to see in those wrestling matches and really see good high quality wrestling, but also good storylines that create division animosity between the wrestlers. So when they actually get in the ring together, they actually put on a little bit better show than just seeing the same wrestlers every Monday or every every other week fighting each other and having pretty much the same results.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, they've got a great combination of some really tough veterans. I think of John Moxley, definitely Bryan Danielson. I mean, so many guys, Samoa Joe. And then you mix in a young influx of talent like MJF. He's a show stealer. I mean, that guy will go out there and do a promo, and you'll forget the great match you just watched before them. You know, you got this guy, Orange Cassidy, who he's just so over. The fans just love this guy, you know. And I mean, I've never seen a guy do drop kicks with his hands in his pockets and just do a flip up to get up. I've just never seen some of the stuff. And you know, other young guys, I'm thinking Darby Allin, man. This guy is a kamikaze. I've never seen anything like him, man. He reminds me of that, you know, he's that defensive back that you put on special teams, and he goes down there and he usually knocks one dude down and makes the tackle. You know, just a kamikaze out there. And you know, to see the influx of guys and the way they're moving this talent around, it's very impressive, and it reminds me of some of the shows that, you know, when WCW was really getting the high ratings and they were close to those Monday Night Wars. You know, I can kind of see some of that and envision that. CM Punk is another guy that has gone over there and had success, and he's been out for a little bit. But, you know, you mentioned the New Japan guys. Some of these guys I've never seen that had such successful careers in New Japan, like a Kenny Omega. I wasn't really familiar with him.
No, I got to meet him at the New Japan show in Daytona. Super awesome guy and fantastic to watch in the ring.
Yeah, man, that guy, he's super talented. The Young Bucks, I had seen them a few times in ROH earlier in their career. But those guys, I saw them. There was a move they did this week where one of the guys was doing the old bulldog maneuver, and the partner came and drop kicked him, and I'd never seen that before. And maybe we're watching wrestling close to 40 years now, so it's good to see these guys innovative and you know, really working for the crowds and stuff like that. So definitely super impressive, and that they're doing a good job. Like I say, great time to be a pro wrestling fan.
Indeed, you hit that right on the head with all what's going on. I mean, where do you pick and where do you choose what you're going to watch now? There's just so much out there for people to watch. But I got to bring up another kind of on a sad note. One of my favorite wrestlers, you know, Big Daddy Cool, Kevin Nash, apparently he had said some things, and we're kind of concerned about what's going on. Have you heard any news or any information about what's going on with Kevin Nash?
Well, he had a podcast that he was on, and he had mentioned, you know, it had been several months since he lost his son. And, you know, he just said something that, you know, just got a lot of people's attention and everything. You know, he said something that's, you know, a guy that's really feeling really sad and down feels. And the last I heard, you know, officers went and did a check on him, you know, just a mental health check on him and everything. And, you know, next thing you know, yesterday he posted that, you know, that he was doing fine. He was going to go hit the legs up. So he was going to go do some squats and do some leg workouts. And, you know, that's one thing. I think we're in a day and age where everybody's going to kind of struggle with different mental health issues and not feeling good all the time. I think your best bet is just to find a positive outlook or a positive outlet to calm you down, to center you, to make you not feel so terrible. And it can be different things. You know I have a few different things when I'm really going through some serious anxiety. You know, one trick I've learned is, you know, if you grab you a lemon and you bite into a lemon, I don't know what it is, but it's something in your brain, but you don't really start thinking that weird stuff anymore. More or less, you're thinking, man, this is some sour stuff in my mouth, you know, and it's a different, I don't know. I just think it's something that kind of scrambles your brain to kind of recenter you and calm you down. Same thing, you know, I'm a big believer in this. If I'm not feeling right, I'm feeling kind of antsy or something. If I just hop in a cold shower or jump in a cold pool, I'm not thinking stupid stuff anymore. I'm thinking, man, it's cold. You know what I mean? So I think there's just some different simulators in your brain that you know, make you react different to some things. A couple outlets that I love doing, you know, when I'm frustrated, and we all get frustrated these days, but man, I love to work out. I love to lift weights and stuff like that. You know, it's a good way to get out negative energy. Another thing that's pretty soothing to me I love sports cards. So I could sit there and go through these cards and look at them and everything. And, it just dials it back, and it kind of makes me center myself, and, it makes me feel better. And that's what you need to do. You need to find a way to do it. And another important thing is, if you're not feeling right, you need to talk to somebody that's important to you, that knows you're important. Talk to your coach, talk to your counselors, talk to people that can help you out, because everybody needs help these days and everybody wants to help people. The worst thing you can do is not ask for it.
No, agreed. And you echoed something that I talk to my students about all the time, my athletes, and I even gave one of my students going through some stuff, the book "The Power of Now" by Eckhart Tolle. And it's one of the top selling books, and he wrote that a long time ago. But at the same time, it really hits everything that you're talking about, where we have this inner monologue, we have this voice in our head that might think of all the worst things, and it creates these more or less screenplays of the what can go wrong and what will go wrong. And you might say something that I'm a klutz, or I'm an idiot, or I'm stupid, or I shouldn't have done that, that was an idiotic thing. And you just keep reinforcing these things in your head, and really that's not who you are. They say that's less than 5% of your brain, and less than 5% of your soul is those thoughts that you're having in your head. And like you said, biting of that lemon, now you're in the now. You realize, hey, I'm sucking on a sour lemon. You're not thinking about all the scenarios that you're creating about, and those things. If you live up here in your head, and you're constantly just not talking to people and not getting it out and not realizing what's actually taking place in your world, you can go down some pretty dark paths and think about all the stuff that's in your past. And one of the things that I absolutely love doing right now, we're in our winter workouts, and I feel fantastic when I am finished with those workouts with my young athletes, where I push them and challenge them and have that positive reinforcement back to me, where they're like, man, coach, I didn't think I could do that. And I was able to knock out those reps or knock out that weight. And so it's not just, physical workouts are fantastic, especially when you're feeling any certain way, but helping other people and seeing that side of the things, like you realize that you have much bigger role in this world than what you may think currently going on. And just like you said, in the last few years, COVID, holy smokes, where did, let's go back to 2019. And I'm not talking about anything about political who's in the world, just in terms of how we were able to continue living our lives a certain way. And then all of a sudden you put a stop to it, and people are stuck in their homes and they're stuck in their head. And they're thinking back to all what could have, would have, should have been, and I could have done this differently, or what can I do now? Or, me personally, I lost my job, and I was on unemployment. Then I'm working bagging groceries with a master's degree. And, you have to sit there and think about, it's like, well, I continued trying to do whatever I could to climb out of that stuff. And that's why I started reading a lot of these books and trying to see different perspectives on the world. And just like you said, living in the now, living in, sucking on that lemon, being in the moment while you're lifting weights or talking to somebody or helping somebody out can really make a huge difference in the way that you're responding. But at the same time, don't go home and just let it go back, where you get sucked back into your brain and say, well, I did all this, but man, I'm still feeling terrible because I said something wrong to somebody at 1.4 years ago or something like that.
Right.
So.
Without a doubt. Absolutely. And another thing, coach, as you get older, you always say, I wish I knew now what I did know then. Man, if I could scroll back to when I was in high school, I wish I knew the impact that I made on my coaches as well, because the impact that I might have had on an Isaiah Wynn, maybe it was a small one to him, but man, it means everything to me to see that guy crushing it like that. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? And so I don't think a lot of young guys know that, is how they affect their coaches as well. Your coaches want to coach you better, when you want to be coached and stuff like that, so it's an inspiring thing, especially when you see your boys grow up right in front of you And not just him. There's other guys. There's plenty of guys. A long list of guys. But that's just one small example of how impactful coaching is, because you do want to do a better job when you have people that are doing the right thing and doing things right and stuff like that. So I totally agree. But yeah, everybody, you got to find a good outlet. And I think even for myself at my age, I'm 44 years old. I have plenty of mentors that I can talk to about all kind of things, about relationships, about finances, about the wrestling business, about pro football. Knowledge is there. You just got to seek it. You know what I mean? And be around people that you want to be like. If you stand in a room full of 5 millionaires, guess what? One day, brother, there's gonna be 6 of y'all around there. So that's another important thing. Surround yourself with the right people that want to see you do better and want to see you doing well.
Agreed. Another thing that I say all the time: you're a product of your surroundings. You might have been brought up a certain way, but if you're hanging around people that aren't people that you want to aspire to be like, or they're not on the same path as far as their drive and determination, they might want to go do other things, but they still want to put in the same amount of work. Those are things that can improve you. And again, it doesn't matter if they're 15, 25, 35, 45. You can still make those changes whenever. So
Absolutely.
I do think that's a good place for us to stop it for this WWE and AEW update. But Coach, we're going to have you back here in a little bit. We'll talk some college football. So I want to thank you for coming on, and we'll reach out to you soon. Totem Pole Nation, thanks for watching. Please definitely check out Cultivate Wellness, Natural CBD. They are an incredible company, especially if you're feeling down. Again, they're non-psychoactive, but it can make you feel a lot better, especially with what's going on in the world today. So, Coach Ball, really appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Take care, bud.